talk shows, Find Your Own Voice, Led from Within. With me today, I've got Angie Simmons. Angie Simmons, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi guys, nice to see you this afternoon. I'm Angie Simmons. I'm a single mum from a mining town called Mansfield in England. I'm a personal development and mental wellness mentor. By turning my mental mess into my message, I help inspire and empower and support open-minded, mission-driven ladies over the age of 35 who are finding themselves stuck in life. They know that they want more. They're just not quite sure how to do that. So I've developed a system over the past 8 years to help people take those daily steps forward, keep them accountable, support them, and help them gain more clarity and confidence.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Angie. So I'm on YouTube yesterday. We recorded the whole video for 1 hour. And when I checked earlier, there was no video.
Oh dear.
The video was there. It was like an audio. We were not on the video. It was black. So now I had to delete it. I had to actually download the audio, and then I had to delete the video because it wasn't worth it. So we're gonna have to re-record it next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday? You mean next Thursday?
No, because it was yesterday's video. So me and the Thursday guys, Wednesday guys, so we're gonna have to record it because it didn't work yesterday. We were just talking, and you know what? The audience were coming in, but they didn't tell us that we were not on camera.
What a shame.
When I was watching, it showed that we were on camera, but we were not. So I don't know what happened. I think it was something to do with restraint. But hopefully we are okay today. So the topic today is looking in love. So I chose this topic because you can get, when it comes to love, you can get all the support you need to be a success in keeping a strong love. In fact, that if you don't have the grip of what love is about and how to sustain it, and it may cause difficult and miserable times in your relationship. And also, sometimes when people are going through problems in a relationship, they believe that it's all their fault, is something that they have done, or is something that they are not good enough. But you're not alone. If you're feeling that way, you're not alone. It's not that it's not something that you have done, or that you're not good enough, or it's not that you're not good enough for that person. Things that happen in a relationship when you don't have knowledge when it comes to love, things are gonna go wrong. And when things go wrong, and that's why it's important to actually have a therapist. A therapist is like my children, they have tutors, but that tutor is not that they're not able to cope with the schoolwork. Is something that they have someone to discuss with, or if they have problems at school, or if they have problems maybe at home, mom and daddy are annoying and it's affecting them at school. So they have a study buddy. I call them study buddy. I pay them to look after my children to make sure that everything is fine. So it is important to have a therapist. Some people say, why would I need a therapist? Why would I need somebody to coach me? So you need that in order for you to have that a successful relationship. There are therapists that charge money, yes. There are therapists that you can find them for free online. The service might not be the same, but it is important to actually have that someone in your life. So I don't know how do you relate to this subject? To this topic, Angie? Looking in love.
Well, I'm single and I have been for a while.
But it's a choice. It is a choice.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
It is a choice.
Yeah.
I decided a few years back, you know, I needed to find me.
Yeah.
I'd lost the love in myself. So any relationship that I went anywhere near, I destroyed. So it was very interesting listening to you, what you were saying a minute ago. Because I think if you're not in the right headspace for a relationship, or you're not clear on who you are and what you want, and actually gotten over a heartbreak or some or something, you actually take that into the next relationship, and then you blame the other person because apparently they're the same as the last one, but actually there's two different people that's gone into that relationship, but that one person, which is yourself, has gone into this new relationship. So I found that if you don't heal and repair from a relationship, then you can potentially take those pains, that trauma, whatever it is, into a new relationship. So yeah, I decided I wanted to find myself again, and then I decided I was ready. I'd start doing some healing, and I was like, right, I'm really ready now. And then I ended up in two relationships, one after the other, both narcissists. And I was just like, well, still not ready. So I backed off. I went, no, no, no. And when I look at the situation where I was at that particular time, I was being verbally attacked by a narcissist in the family. So no wonder I was attracting that type of person into my life, because that's where my mindset was. So yeah, me personally, as I say, I'm single at the moment. I can't give relationship advice as such, but I believe that when you actually find your true inner self and you actually own yourself, you love yourself, you respect yourself, that's when the right person will come along, which is what I've been thinking of lately. Is I'm actually ready again now. My daughter's, she's nearly 18. Yes, she still needs me because she doesn't drive at the moment. So I still have to take her to school and acting, singing and dancing. So I'm still racing around. And then I was like, when will I find the time to have a relationship? So I don't know. There it is.
Anyway, as long as you're single and it's a choice, that's amazing. You can give a relationship advice based on what you've been through for people to avoid, because some people, they go through this painful journey and they think, oh, I can't give anyone advice. You can give them advice, because like right now you were able to, when somebody is able to say, you know what, something is wrong, I need to find myself. That is a big choice, and that is an amazing choice, because it's not easy for someone to actually be honest with whatever they are going through and say, you know what, I'm gonna find myself and I'm gonna check on me and find this thing that keeps showing up in my journey, and I keep selecting the wrong guys. And you were able to do that. Some people don't. They'll blame themselves, and they'll do all sorts of things. But for you, myself, if I was single and looking for love, I want to hear your story, the things to avoid selecting a man, because you've done that and you've learned from that, and now you're like, I'm ready. I'm single because it's my choice, and I'm ready to go back into that dating scene. And but there is a story behind that journey that you've gone through, so people will benefit in that journey. So
Okay.
so don't talk you out. Don't talk you out of your experience. You
No,
still
no,
have
you're right. You're
experience.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't talk yourself out. When it comes to a relationship, you have to have communication. In order for you to unlock that love, you have to have open communications. This includes you being able to express how you feel openly and be truthful. Some people, they find it really difficult to be truthful about what they are feeling, and they don't want their spouse to know what they are feeling, or sometimes they don't want to communicate, and you end up emotionally bleeding But if you communicate with someone and let them know this is what I'm going through and this is what I'm feeling, they're not going to take that pain away, but it's going to help so that when you are grumpy or when you're going through something, so they know that I need to, okay, how can I save you? If you tell somebody, explain to somebody, this is what I'm going through, the queen or the king will be like, if it's a woman, the king will be like, so how would you like me to save you? That means how can I support you with this problem that you're going through? And the queen will be like, how can I save you, my king? So that means how can I support you going forward with this problem that you're going through? Some people simply don't want to be supported, they just want you to know what they're going through. Like myself, when I'm going through something, I want to be left alone. I don't get grumpy. I'm always happy. I'm always smiling. But I just want to left alone to figure things out, because I know in order for me to get out of that situation, whatever is going on, I need to find myself within the problem and deal with it. So I just want somebody to know this is what I'm going through. Or sometimes if I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. But I don't let a man guess what is going on. Like before I go into personal development, I don't know whether you did this where you go to a silent mode. Basically, you're not talking and you are frustrated, and it's like, baby, what is going on? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. So if I do that now, I'll be embarrassed. But now I'm happy communicating. I'm happy to let someone know what is going on with my life, and also I have to understand that there are things that we can't take for granted. You can't take someone you love for granted, but we do, because we are human beings. So you said you can't give someone relationship advice, Angie. So me, I like you to give our audience, the relationship advice.
Okay.
What makes a relationship unhealthy? I know you've gone through this journey, and
Well, I think, to be honest, Nanta, you've just hit a massive nail on the head there. Huge part of relationship building, whether that's with, a man or woman, woman and woman, whatever, children, parents, whatever, is communication. The thing is, when we're going through and I love that you said, no, I'm all right. I used to be terrible for that. I'd be like, you're slamming around like an absolute idiot because you're really annoyed that somebody's done something, instead of turning around and voicing, actually, you shouldn't have done that. I don't like that, or blah, blah. You start slamming about and then you get, what's the matter? Nothing. And that used to be me. And it used to be, and obviously with all the inner work, personal development that I've done on myself, I understood when I started realizing this, I'm like, oh, right. So everybody thinks everybody else is a mind reader. And 90% of the time, that person don't think what you're thinking. You think they're thinking one thing and they're thinking something totally different. And then when you actually get to sit and chat, it's like, oh, no, I didn't mean that. I meant this. I'm like, well, how did you mean that? Because this is how I took it. And, I've said to my daughter a few times, the other one is the tonality of how you talk. If I turn around and I shouted or spoke really, really fast, yes, sometimes I speak fast because I get excited about things, but so most people will, they're like, and they're not expressing themselves properly and expecting the other person to understand. And the other one is when you're sitting there, I heard that quote, it's two of these and one of these. But most people are too busy focusing on this and not using these. And they're sat there waiting to jump in, to put their point across. But if they took a second to step back and wait until the person's finished, they might actually think, oh, she didn't mean that. Oh, he didn't mean that. Oh, this is what they meant. But when we're trying to interject in somebody talking, we pick out the wrong things. And I've had many of discussions with my daughter on that. And she'll go, instead of saying, yes, mum, she'll go, yeah. And then I'm like, well, it's the same thing, isn't it? Well, not really, Summer. You can say yes or yeah. And the tonality of the yeah is, I'm not okay with that, or yeah, the nodding of the head, and it's all body language. And yeah, it's that communication, giving that other person that chance to talk and supporting. Absolutely. When you mentioned that, the relationship breakdown between me and my husband was, as you know, my younger brother was killed, and it was my husband's best friend. My husband's thoughts was, well, I'll see him again, so I just need to crack on with my life. And I saw that as, you don't really care. And, he said to me I think it was a year after my brother had died, and he turned around and says, have you not got over that yet? And I was like, pardon? And instead of me expressing how that made me feel and what I took it as, I just went inwards. I was like, really? Have I not got over that yet? How do you get over something like that? And, grief comes years later. It can come 5 minutes after. It can come whenever it feels like. And when it comes with a whole barrage of stuff. But I went inwards, and that stuff was poisoning me, but it was also poisoning our relationship. So, and that was the massive communication breakdown. Instead of me actually sitting there going, and obviously at this time I weren't into personal development. I'd never even heard of it, if I'm honest. I saw that as he didn't care. He didn't care of the fact that I was in pain. Actually, in fact, he did care, but he'd never experienced what he experienced. Nor had I. I'd never lost a brother before. I'd lost loved ones in my family. So I sort of used to grief, but not in that way. And it was a new experience for both of us, and we just couldn't talk. Now we openly talk about it. It happened in 2000, we split up in 2009, and we're now like best friends. We're like big brother and sister, and we openly talk about it. And we laugh about the fact that we both went in our own different directions, because we now understand that we got together for a reason, but now looking at it, we weren't meant to be together. He's got totally different dreams to what I've got. And in fact, the other day I said to him, one of the dreams that I've had for best part of 25 years, top tip to anybody, if something keeps coming back, don't let go of it. And this dream keeps coming back. And I know it's what I am going to do. And I'm going to have my own land. I'm going to have my own well-being camp. I've seen it in visions, in meditation, in dreams. I can plan it out. I can describe it to you. Now, I had that dream when me and my ex-husband was together. And I talked about buying some land, and he wasn't having any of it. He was like, no. Now, he talked about buying land, but as in property. Now, we'd only just bought this house, and it was 2002. And I was scared to death because I'd got a £55,000 mortgage on my head. I'd never had a debt in my life. So as you can imagine, he's going, oh, can we have another one? No. But he saw a future of him having several properties and renting them out. I saw a future of a land and relaxing. So both of us actually said no to each other's dreams without even realizing. Now he apparently wants to buy a boat and travel the world. I'm like, well, that's a little bit different than buying houses, but never mind. But, yeah. So yeah, massively, communication and that using your ears and not sitting there waiting to talk. Because the amount of people I have a conversation with, and I can see them going forwards like that, or the feet are tapping or the hands are tapping, and I'm like, they want to talk. So I stop and they're like, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you let me finish, this is what I'd have actually said. And they're like, oh. So yeah, use these and use this, but at the right time.
I love that. My grandmother used to say, like, growing up in Africa, used to say, when you have some talking problems in a relationship, it can cause really big problems in a relationship. And sometimes in a relationship, there are some people, like you were saying, that have a problem with some talking problems. Some people have problems of not listening or not communicating. We all have, as the individual, we all have all these problems. For me, my problem was not communicating properly, not communicating my needs, and I just go silent mood, and I'll be like, why is he behaving like this? He should know better. For me, I expected, there were expectations when it comes to relationship, that I thought this person should do this, should be this, it should be this, it should be this. And if you don't do this, I'm just gonna go to a silent mood. Now when I go back, if I do it, I think I might even laugh at myself. Or I mean, honestly, it's so embarrassing, Angie, when you look back and to just see the characters, how we used to be before we go into personal development. And I just get so frustrated not communicating what I want. And even sometimes when people ask me to go out, even if I didn't feel like it, I wouldn't want to upset my friends or my family. I just do it. But now I have this a thing in me. If I don't want to go out with you that day, it doesn't mean that I don't love you. It doesn't mean I'm a different person. I'm still the same person. And so that is the case, that in a relationship we are there to actually to love each other. In loving each other, you have to learn to communicate your want. You have to learn to let the other person know how you want them to serve you, because when you enter a relationship, it's all about serving and it's all about receiving. There are some people that they're good at giving, but they're not good at receiving. So I was one of those person that I'm good at giving, but when when it's time for me to receive, I find it difficult. I had to work on those issues that I had, which is a bad habit. So if you have a bad habit in a relationship and you recognize it, you have to have the courage to actually work on it. Some things that are unhealthy, causing an unhealthy relationship. Sometimes it could be someone disrespecting the other person in a relationship. For me, no matter how much you've hurt me, I will never ever disrespect that person, the person that I'm dating, or controlling. Some people, they love controlling, and some people, it's like they get exposed in domestic violence. And what surprises me, like when you hear the police, they'll be like, if you watch any documentary, they'll be like, anyone that is involved in a domestic violence, when they go and interview, or if the victim makes a phone call and they go to the house, yes, they will take that person, and then sometimes the other person will start defending the person that they have reported, and that means the police can't do anything. And that causes that person to be abused violently, repeatedly and repeatedly, unless they decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna leave. But sometimes apparently it takes a very, very long time before sometimes the police can go through to the person. And I've had my friends as well who are in a relationship, when their spouse are horrible to them, they're like, oh, he didn't get enough sleep. You didn't get enough sleep, you have no right to talk to me like that. So get enough sleep. If you don't have enough sleep, you go to sleep. My daughter goes for sleepover. When it comes back, I know she's gonna be grumpy. So when she walks in by the door, I'm like, go to your bedroom and go to sleep. Yeah, she knows. Yeah, she goes for sleepover, but they don't really sleep over. They wake over. It's like they are awake, chatting with their friends. And when she comes home, she'll be really grumpy. So now I know when she walks in, I'm like, go to your room. And then she goes and sleeps. She goes, I didn't sleep, I'm tired. So you hear people making excuses for somebody, he's doing this or she is doing this because of what she's going through. No, that is an excuse. You cannot make an excuse for somebody if they're not treating you well. So you have to make them aware that they need help if they need help. And also, as a spouse, you cannot play a therapist. I'm a psychologist. I can't play therapist to my spouse. The reason why I can't play a therapist to my spouse, he needs someone professional. That is not me. He needs, if he's going through something or whatever he's going through, he will need somebody, a professional. That is not his spouse, because if I talk to him, we'll start arguing. I don't argue anyway, but we might start doing that. But what I do is, if I see that my spouse is going through something, I ask and I leave him alone. You know, like men, when you ask them, they're like, I'm okay, I'm good. Then they're not okay. When they say they're okay, I'm good, it means they're not okay. So I leave him alone. And then following day, you come back, you see him is still feeling the same, like the energy is not there. And then you're like, what is going on? He's like, you start saying at work, there's so much things going on. So I'll be like, can you just separate work when you leave work and just say goodbye work, and just come home and just be happy and things like that. So during lockdown, because we had this certain lifestyle, we'll buy whatever we wanted to buy, but money wasn't coming in as normal, so he started worrying. So I gave him some advice. Don't worry about money, people are dying. So he ignored me, and then I gave him another advice the following week. And then one day I just ignored him and left him alone. And one day he goes, actually, I'm taking your advice. I'm like, which one is that one? Then there's many of them, because I'm not gonna worry about money anymore. I was like, what took you so long? Because the pandemic is gonna go and things are gonna go back to normal. And you find that you are just worrying for no reason. So I was like, we're not trouble. We're happy the way we are. We still have enough things in the house. And if you look at it like your wardrobe, Angie, even if you don't have money this month, if you look at your wardrobe, you've got plenty to take you for 2 years. Some
I've got way too many.
You've never been worn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, if I don't have money, I don't worry about anything as long as I've got food. Because there are some clothes that I've never worn, and there are some handbags that I've never worn. I have shoes. I don't know, maybe I don't know how many pairs I have. So I was like to him, don't worry, it's pandemic. So it's those little things that we take for granted, that we think that life is a game, and that life is a game and life is a game. So I don't know how about you guys, when it comes to how to cope with the lockdown. You were not with your husband, were you?
No. I've been we split up in 2009. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, and also I was gonna come to this. Yeah, I was gonna come to this part where you said your husband was like to you, you need to understand that his friend killed your brother, and then he wanted you to understand that is a lot to take. For me, the way I understand forgiveness is a process. It's a process that cannot be rushed. And also with the grieving as well. Grieving is a process that it cannot be rushed as well. And you have to let somebody be. And so by you making that decision that if you don't understand what I'm going through, then we shouldn't be together. And maybe you had made a mistake when you were selecting him in the beginning anyway. So yeah, absolutely. So I think that's what came. Yeah, that's what came when your brother died. When your brother died. So, and also him hanging out with his friend that took your brother's life. He should have just let you grieve and see your feelings, how you feel about it. Because life is a process. You might, if he didn't challenge your feelings, you might have let him hang out. It's just sometimes when our
maybe.
feelings are being challenged. Yeah. So we don't know. Sometimes when our feelings.
I need to correct you there, Nomsa, because my brother was killed on the road on a motorbike accident. There was nobody else involved. But the thing was, obviously, my ex-husband was my brother's best friend, and that's, but with me at the time, it wasn't just the fact that I'd lost my brother. It was the fact that it was me that introduced him to motorbikes. So I internalized that myself, saying, oh, if he hadn't have done that, then he'd be still here. But then I'd got other family members saying the same thing. And that, it made it worse. But he wasn't willing, he just be like, oh, get over it. Just get over it. You'll be fine. Just move on. And he's like that, full stop. But I didn't know him that way, at that time, but he's like it with my daughter. My daughter will say stuff and she'll go, oh, Mom, you've said this. And, oh, God, GE does my head in. And I was like, oh, yeah, parents, we don't like to listen to our kids. And she was like, no, but he just, if my daughter's ill, she's been really, really ill, bless her. I came back from being down south because I knew I needed to come back to make sure I was there for her to get her to school and everything. And she's been pretty unwell. It turns out that she's got really bad sinusitis. So I turned around to her on Sunday. I says, right, enough, because I didn't get back till Friday night. So I've not been here to see it. And on Sunday afternoon, I went, enough. She went, what? I went, you're not going to school tomorrow. You're having the day off. You are resting and we are getting you in the doctors. This is not normal. This is not right. And when I said, I messaged and said, Summer's not going to school. I'm keeping her off. Oh, the typical, she'll be all right. She'll be okay. No, she's not okay. And it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to turn around and say, that's not right. In any, in so many different situations. But with my daughter, I was like, no, that's not okay. She's not well. She's voiced her opinions and she's being told, well, we don't want to hear whether you're well or not. You're still going to school. No. So I've deliberately, the stuff that I've learned over the past 9 years that I've been doing, the work that I've been doing, is having them conversations with my daughter and saying, no, she's had relationships with, friends in the past. And I've said, no, that's not okay. If they treat you disrespectfully, then they don't deserve to be in your life. You treat people how you expect to be treated yourself. But also on the other side, everybody's got a different, my daughter's very much like my late mum, my way or the highway. This is my opinion and that's it. Well, no, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a different idea on something. It's listening to that other person's idea and their thoughts on the matter. You don't have to agree with that person at all. If you think, no, I'm saying black, and if you're saying white, we're done. No, it's okay. We've just got a different, different opinion on something. So, it's a bit of a funny one, that one, in that sense of everybody, we need to give other people that space and that time to be with themselves, be with their thoughts, but also have that opinion. And it's okay to have that opinion, unless, like you say, they're being disrespectful, they're hurting you in a way that's physical or mental, because mental abuse, I found, can be one of the hardest, because unfortunately you can see, you can see a fist coming towards you and you can see the physical bruises. When somebody's being mentally abused, you can't see that coming, but you can't see the physical bruises, but the bruises that it leaves inside and the way that it's done is very slowly, that person doesn't see it. Because I have been on the receiving end of that in the past, I'm able to see them straight away now. And it's like, you don't change who you are to fit in with somebody else. and you don't expect somebody else to change to fit in with who you are. You understand that person for who they are, love them for who they are, and you come together, or you separate. It's as simple as that. Are you my tribe? Does my energies vibe with your energies? Do we have lots in common? Great. Yeah, and I loved it when you said that earlier about when you when you've been asked to go out and you don't want to go out and you end up going out. How many times have you done that when you've gone out and you've gone, I really don't want to be here? And then you're blaming the other person. They made you come out. Well, actually, they've not made you come out. You made that choice. So take ownership of that as well. Yeah, quite interesting. When you said that, it did make me giggle. I was like, yeah, I've been there before, stood there at the bar going, why am I stood here? Why am I drinking? I don't want to drink. I don't want to be out. God, if she'd have just then gone on a mission and then gone quiet, because I do that as well. When I've got something that's really, really getting under my skin, I have a tendency to go quiet. And most people know me. They know if Angie's quiet, something's not right. Because I can talk the hind legs off a donkey, as my nana used to say.
Yeah, me, if I'm quiet, that means I'm being curious. It means there's something I'm investigating in my mind. That I go quiet. Yeah.
I'm either investigating or plotting your death. You don't know what I mean. not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I go in a quiet mood when I'm thinking, or when I see there's something wrong, when I'm just being curious and just looking around, just evaluating things, and then I go quiet. I just, when I talk, I talk. When I speak, but when I go quiet, I go quiet. When I'm sad, I listen to music. If you see me listen to music non-stop, that means I'm reconnecting myself to my emotions, because emotions are very, very important. They are the glue that associate with the other people's feelings, and they give meaning to life. If they don't give meaning, that means we can get disconnected, and they are the foundation of your power that comprehend yourself and relate to others as well at the same time. So when I don't want to speak, I just go quiet with my emotions, and it helps me to when I go to a quiet mood, that means I'm able to think clearly as well, and I'm able to get creative, and I'm able to manage my stress, and I'm able to actually evaluate the challenges that are in front of me, or sometimes it could be my friends, and just bring that trust back to me, and empathy and self-defense as well around me as well. So it's very, very important. Like sometimes I see it with people, like when they are going through something, instead of letting someone know, they raise their voice. Me, I don't raise my voice. I just go quiet. Even with my children, my daughter will be like, "Mommy, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm good. I'm good." And that means I'm thinking. And that means I'm like, in my heart, I'm telling God that I trust you, and I trust whatever is going through in my life, or whatever is going on in my life. You're gonna I know you're gonna hold my hands and then see me through that problem. And sometimes when my friends are going through something, or my spouse going through something, I go to a place where I need to connect with myself and just pray. I'm walking by praying. And then you hear somebody tell me the good news. Maybe they were going through something and they're like, "Oh, I'm feeling okay now." Then I'm stopping now, wondering, walking, praying. And I'm like, "Okay, thank you God for all that." So it is very, very important for me when you are in a relationship with someone, and when somebody tells you what they are going through. Some people don't want to hear it, but for me, it's very, very important when somebody tells you what they are going through. When you relate to somebody, you have to relate to someone. When someone comes in and tell you, "This is what I'm going through," they are your spouse. You are there to serve them. You are there to help them with whatever they are going through. You can't fix whatever they are going through, they're gonna need to fix it themselves. Your job is there to support. And when somebody tells you what they are going through, in your mind, imagine you're in their world. Just relate to that person. You don't need to get stressed or anything. Just relate to what they're going through. When you relate to somebody, the next stage that will happen automatically. You're going to sympathize with them. And when you sympathize with that person, and the next thing automatically, you're going to want to give them love. You're going to want to share that love that you found within. And when you share that love with them, and then they're going to realize that actually I need to fix myself, not you fixing them, because some people think they can fix what's broken for somebody else. You can't. There are some people who are attracted to the broken heart. There are women out there who are attracted to people with the issues, and they think they can fix them. They are the rescuers. They can rescue them and fix whatever is going on in their problems, and things get worse. But for me, I like to fix my life. I know I can't fix anyone. My spouse knows. He knows if life is not going well. I just tell him, you gotta figure it out. And all I do is I'll keep reminding him, have you figured that out? Or sometimes, like if he's going through, sometimes poor computer, he plays games and the computer gets smashed. Sometimes if it's not working, the remote will get smashed, the mouse will get smashed. And I'm like, you do realize that it's just a game. And it's like, yes, I do realize. I'm like, what is it with the smashing the mouse and the smashing is like, but it's not doing what I needed to do.
That costs money.
I'm like, just take a breathe and relax, chill out. And it's like, it's easy for you to say, but I get killed. I'm playing a game, I get killed. I'm like, but it's not real life. Just be patient. And it's like, okay, but now I don't get the smashing much because I'm like, just calm down and chill out. So you just have to, and also I'm not somebody that likes games. I don't play games. I don't like them. But when my spouse tells me about his games, I listen. And when I listen, I ask questions because it means so much to him. He loves it. So it means so much. So for me, my job is to listen and ask questions. And sometimes he'll be building the characters. And I have to ask questions about the meaning of those characters. And 99%, I don't even have a clue what he's talking about. But I just have to show my interest. I don't know whether when you are in a relationship or you go into that situation where somebody explains something, but you have to show interest. That's what makes a relationship interesting, is showing interest to the other person, what they love, even if it's not something that you love. I show interest. And he will explain. I'm like, I don't even have a clue what you're talking about, but I'm listening anyway. Or sometimes I have to explain to him, you know what, I don't even know that you're speaking the game. Could you please explain what it means? And he'll be like, okay. And then he'll be like, come here. And then he'll be like getting excited now.
Yes. That's like getting a kid in a candy shop, isn't it? Yeah! I can tell you everything now.
Yeah, I give up with them. I like VR. I like to watch a movie because on the VR you can watch the movie on the VR, like put it on the phone, and then it will give you like a big screen, like the whole front of the house. It becomes like a cinema. But we only have one in the house. They don't like to share. Whoever gets hold of it, they don't like to share. So I give up. I'm always the last to pick it up. So we in that department, I give up. I let them do whatever they want to do. So what do you do, like Angie, if somebody, like let's say I was talking about emotions, in your own opinion as a coach, What would you do, like, if someone loses the command of their emotions and then they spin into mentally confusion and they go into isolation and start doing negative things? What would you suggest for them to actually bring themselves back to reality, something that we call normal in reality?
So what do you mean, if somebody's gone through something and they've gone into themselves? What would my advice be for that?
Yeah, because sometimes we go through something and we lose the command, because for the emotions and thoughts, for you to go on and live that life that you want, you have to learn to command your emotions. But when you lose that command and you go to this place where you want to isolate yourself from people.
All right, yeah, I get you. Oh God,
Yeah.
I've been there so many times. I've lost. I used to turn around and say, I go in my little bat cave or my bear cave and go and eat worms.
Yeah.
That's where I used to do it all the time. You know, if I lost control of my emotions and I was just literally, nobody loves me, nobody cares. What am I here for? You know, everybody hurts me, blah, blah. Oh God, my self-talk used to be terrible.
Yeah.
So one of the things
I never went that far.
Yeah. I've gone to some pretty dark places, if I'm honest. Very dark places. And I feel blessed every day now that I'm still here when I think about the dark places that I went. And one of the things that most people, well, who I've come across, is that they struggle with that ability to talk, which goes back to communication. I was brought up my family, very strong family, very, you know, it's miners, you know, miners mentality, down the pit, you know, coals, don't talk about your problems because you're weak. Don't tell this because you're weak. If you cry, you're weak. And that's not the case. We're human beings. We're feeling beings. And one of the biggest things that I found that most people struggle with is talking to somebody else. And I'll be honest, hands up, I still have it sometimes. And one of my friends, actually, my psychologist friend, said to me the other day, she noticed I'd gone quiet. And she says, it's going off in that little noggin of yours. And I giggled because she knows me well enough. And I just went, because I'd got all this stuff going on. And it wasn't as trivial as I'd made it in my head. Once it was out, I could actually...
It was okay.
What's the word I'm looking for? Once it was out, I could actually see it for what it is and go, oh my God, why was I making... And that's the thing. We make a you know, like a little tiny bump in the road into some huge thing. Talk to people. There's somebody in your life that you can talk to, that you trust, that can sit there and just listen to you. That would be the best. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it's the best thing that you can ever do. If you feel like you're going into your little cave and you're talking yourself around all this stuff, get them thoughts out your head and talk to somebody. If you can't talk to somebody, you really struggle. You see, I had 7 years of therapy, best investment I ever made in myself. And it was that therapy that enabled me to start using my voice and talking. The other one, I've got to say it's because I'm an author of a year-long undated journal. Get it out onto paper. If you can't talk to somebody, get it out onto paper. If you can't write words, draw a picture. It doesn't have to be some sort of like major art, A-level art. Draw what's going off in your head. I've come out with some wicked drawings and I'm like, that looks like a 5-year-old's done that, but never mind. I knew what it meant and that's enabled me. So there's 3 things there: journal, talk, or draw your emotions. Don't stay in. If you stay in your head, you're dead. Because you will talk yourself out of so much stuff, you know, and you will tell yourself so much BS, whatever. You will tell you stuff that's not true. But when you learn to talk to people, to write it down or to draw it, then you can start looking at the situation and seeing it totally different. So that would be my advice. I went around the houses, but I got there eventually.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I did my biography when I was going through divorce 2009. And there were so many things that were going on. I resigned football, and my life was, I was like you. I had to take a look at my life and evaluate it. And I was like, something got to change. So I wrote my biography from a very young age, I remember, until that day. And I kept that, I think it was 250 pages. And I did all the publishing inquiries. I did all the process, everything, publishing inquiries, but I didn't want to, the idea was not to publish it. So I did all the procedures, what you do when you publish a book, and I sent it off to the post office, sent the copy to myself, printed the copy to myself and closed it. And 2000 was the last year, 2021, I banned it. And I felt that it was time for me to let go of these memories completely. And I just light a fire in my garden and I banned my biography because there were so many things. My daddy died, my stepdaddy died, and my stepmom died. I felt that there's some memories that are, some things that I've wrote in the book, and I felt that it was time for me to actually let it go. And after that, I felt so good because I had written that biography to myself, and I came to an understanding who Nomsa is just by writing everything. So when you say write a journal, I relate to you. You write it, and when you, and also say things out loud. When I'm going through something, I say things out loud. You know, like I'm always have earphones wherever I go. I've always have earphones. Sometimes I think people think I'm talking to the, I'm on the phone talking to somebody. But when negative thoughts comes along, I confront them straight away. I'm like, no, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
People,
yeah. Sorry, Nom. I love how you said that as well, because that's something else I do as well. I will write stuff down. I'll write a letter. If somebody's hurt me, I write a letter to them and then I burn it. Yeah. Burning and letting go is so powerful. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
I had to.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. And also when I burn it, it means whatever happens, there's no meaning for you anymore. And I just keep the good memories. Anything bad, I just let it go. Because it's no point in holding on. It's 3 minutes to 2. I've got an appointment at 2. Any words of encouragement, young lady, before you go?
No, I'm all good, my darling. You know, I've just noticed the time. I'm thinking, oh, we've got to go. So just be there. Just be you, and be proud of you. That's all I want to say to anybody that's out there. Just be you and be proud of you.
And do the journal, can write your biography like I did, and burn it as well. So we are here.
Oh, I'm going to do a book.
Monday to Friday. Yeah, Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. 1 p.m. And please, if you want to follow Angie and you want to find out what she does, or you want to find out what I do, you can go to my site or follow Angie on her social media, or get in touch with me or connect you with Angie. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless.